Good morning, families. Trying something new today. I've stepped up my filming game and I'm starting to put my videos on YouTube so that maybe I can reach a little bit of a bigger audience. So welcome if you're new, and if you're not, thanks for showing up. I asked people on my Facebook group, the at-home early learning community, yesterday to ask me some questions either about me or about their child and their child development or behavioral management issues. So today I want to address Anne's question, which was about her son, and she wants him to learn letters without doing worksheets, which I think is a beautiful thing, because how many of us remember going to school and being forced to sit there and do those worksheets of writing the letters over and over again, and how much you hated it. So I'm a big advocate of fostering a love of learning, and I'm going to share with you a few tips and tricks that you can foster that love of letters at home. I had to write it down, so please excuse me for reading off of a paper, because sometimes I have so much going on in my brain and then I kind of forget what I'm going to say altogether, and I want to make sure I give you all the information I have to share. Okay, so the first thing I wrote: don't push it. They will learn. The more you push it on them, like we were pushed those worksheets in school, the more we're going to hate learning. And the first and foremost thing that we want to do is we want them to love to learn and to not stop learning. So don't push it. If they are not into what you're doing, stop. We want them to be exciting and inquisitive little people, and we don't want that to stop when they're older into adulthood. So let's start out with pre-writing skills. So this means fine motor skills, which is all the little muscles in your hands and in your fingers. You need to work those muscles out before we can be expected to write. So as an analogy, I guess, you wouldn't be expected to lift a 100-pound dumbbell on your very first day at the gym. We want to build those muscles. So how we build them in childcare is we use Play-Doh so they can use the muscles to squish. We have painting, and they can scribble and do shapes and colors. What else? We have those we do fine motor activities, so like threading activities with cardboard and string, and they thread through the hole. That builds like their pincer grasp, or even if you have like Play-Doh and stick some noodles, like spaghetti noodles, into the Play-Doh and like put Cheerios through it. I don't have any at home to demonstrate this, and since we're going through a pandemic, I can't really go out and get some, but that is one of my favorites because they do love playing with Play-Doh, and it's a big extension on Play-Doh is sticking those noodles in, and then on top of that putting the Play-Doh inside, or on like through the noodle. So after those long stretch of time of building those muscles for that younger age group, we move on to extending the sensory play with letters. So whether that be Play-Doh with letters that cookie cutter letters, or my favorite one is to have a paper with a letter on it, put it on a tray, and put sand over top, and so that they can find letters underneath and then trace them with their finger and make it out of the sand. That is a really good way to incorporate letters and sensory play. You can even do Play-Doh letters, so you make a mat for your child with letters on it. Roll some Play-Doh and get them to make the shape of the letter. So this is, again, pre-writing skills, recognizing letters before we get to that paper and pencil. Another way to foster a love of letters and writing is using it in dramatic play. all of our children absolutely love dramatic play, where in childcare we like to use like the play kitchen. Sometimes we'll do like a restaurant and we'll go, oh, what are you serving at your restaurant today? And they'll say, oh, pizza. And I go, I don't see that on your menu. Where's your menu? And so then you bring out a piece of paper and a pencil and they start writing a menu, because you're thinking of a way to extend their imaginary play. So then they start asking, okay, well, how do I write pizza? What does P look like? And what is a Z? And then you can help them with hand over hand writing, or even showing them like, oh, well, the letter P is in this book. Let's find it. And then why don't you try and copy that on the paper? So this gets them to look for letters in other places as well. Another thing that you can say if they're into cooking, let's write down the recipe. Let's write down what we're making so we can give that recipe to grandma when we go and visit her. So therefore, like if you're using pasta, then you say, okay, we got to write down pasta for grandma. How do we make the letter P for pasta? And then they can put the letter P on their paper. You guys, we can pretend play school. So they can be the teacher, and then they can say, oh, we're learning letters, so I would like you to write for me the letter B. And then you can write the letter B on the paper, and then you got to say, oh, put the letter B on the chalkboard. We need to see it on the chalkboard. Stuff like that, so that they can role model themselves into that mindset of, I'm the teacher and I can take on this responsibility and I'm going to write letters for my students. Because during dramatic play, children actually act at a higher level than they already are. So that is an excellent way to trick them into liking letters and writing. Another thing that you can do is really observe your child's interest. What are they really into? Are they into trains? Are they into bugs? Are they into what other things? Like they're Frozen, like anything. And then think to yourself, how do I bring the letters to their interests? So say for instance they're into trains. I always have, in all my childcare locations, I've always had those wooden train tracks. So I will make an S out of the train track so they can drive the train along the letter S, or an O or a B. Just get creative in how you can bring the letters to their interests. The biggest advice that I have is make sure that you do your active outdoor play first. Nobody can sit there for long periods of time doing quiet sit-down play when they have all this pent-up energy. You need to get them outside. You need to get their large muscles moving first before you can expect them to sit there for a long period of time playing with letters and exploring writing. So that's what I end up doing every day. Is I always go outside super early with my students, get them outside for play, let them run, jump, ride bikes, and then when we come inside, I have all these kids so calm, engaged in all of their learning for another hour, because they're physically tired and now their mind is ready to explore letters, numbers, science, anything that I have out for them in a calm way. Okay, there's one thing that you really need to understand is that different parts of the brain develop at different times. So therefore, sometimes we have a part of our brain that is really into science and numbers, and that's what they're most interested in. So lean into that a little bit. Okay, we're more into numbers right now, so let's focus on that instead of letters. And when they're really into letters, they will soak it up, but they're only going to learn what they're ready to learn at the moment they're ready to learn it. So that's why we shouldn't worry too much about getting all the letters right before school or right in kindergarten, because they will eventually open up that part of their brain and they will soak that in. Lead through example. When you're in play with your child and giving 100% of your attention with the child. I want you to really engage in the play with them and then go, okay, say for instance, you're out exploring nature and you find a gray rock. Then you go, oh, I see that we're really interested in this rock. Let's draw a picture of it, and sit there with your child and draw a picture of it, and then write the word rock and gray or any descriptive words, and then show your child, like, look, I wrote what we found above the picture so that we remember what it is. And then maybe that will spark their interest in starting to write on their drawings or starting to record their findings beyond just pictures. Thank you everybody for coming out and listening to my video. I hope to do more in the future. And please, in the comments below, let me know how these tips worked for you. And if there's any other things that you think that are helpful, you can write them as well. And if you have any questions about something else that needs to be addressed that you want to work on with your child, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm more than happy to give any free advice I can. Okay, see you guys later. Bye, little.